All right, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started here, guys. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Now, in this case, guys, we are gonna be working with solving the inequality in this case, guys, with having variables on both sides and also distribution. So let's go ahead and start off in this case, guys. I've mentioned before that inequalities do behave like an equation. There are two sides to the inequality, and I've mentioned in this case, guys, that we have to move variables to one side, move variables to one side, and that's what we're gonna do in this case, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and actually move, let's say I moved the 2h. Let's say I move the 2h. Now this 2h in this case, guys, it's positive, right? There's no symbol in front of it, so in order for me to move it, I do have to do an inverse operation, which means subtract. So I'm gonna go ahead and subtract the 2h and subtract the 2h, right? Cancels out here. I'm left with the 5 is greater than 3h minus 2h is actually just going to give me a 1h minus 8. Now, next thing I want to go ahead and do in this case, guys, next thing is I want to go ahead and move numbers to the other. To other side, the other side. Other side, right? So notice in this case, guys, I move the variables to the right-hand side, which means this h is going to stay there. So I need to move the 8 to the opposite side. Right now it's subtracting 8, so in order for us to move it, guys, I am going to add 8 and add 8. Cancels here. And that actually gives me 13 is greater than h. That there, guys, is my solution because h is already left alone. And if I were to be graphing this, I have a 13, right? This is actually going to be considered an open circle because of the inequality. And if I take a look at h in this case, guys, the inequality is not open towards h, therefore h is going to represent the smaller numbers. Smaller numbers. And smaller numbers in this case, guys, are actually going to the left. So all numbers that are smaller than 13 are actually found on the left side of it. Alright, let's go ahead and check out the next one, guys. Same idea in this case, guys. Same idea. Move numbers to one side, letters to the other, right? And let's say go ahead and start off with my variables here, guys. Now, on the previous one, I did move, in this case, the variable that was on the left to the right. I'm going to go ahead and do, now the variable is on the right, move it to the left. So notice, guys, it's subtracting, or it's negative 4n. And I'm going to go ahead and add a 4n and add a 4n. Cancels here. 8 plus 4 in this case, guys, would actually give me a 12n minus a 5 is actually greater than or equal to a negative 2. All right, so my variables are now on the left. So variables on the left, I'll go ahead and write it here. And it doesn't matter what side you move them, guys, but I'm just going to write here variables on left. Therefore, numbers on right. So I'm going to go ahead and move all my numbers to the right side, which means I have to move this 5 to the opposite side. And I'm going to go ahead and add 5 and add a 5. All right, add a 5 and add a 5. So then that there in this case, guys, would cancel out there, and I have a 12n is greater than or equal to a 3. All right, greater than or equal to a 3. Now, from there in this case, guys, my next step would be to actually divide both sides by 12, divide by 12. And notice in this case, guys, when we divide by a 12, we're actually dividing by a positive 12. So my inequality is not going to change direction. And this is going to be n is less than or equal to 3. No, greater than or equal to 3 over 12. And one last thing, guys, we need to simplify this here. And the only way I could actually simplify is if I divide both of them by 3, and it gives me 1/4. So my answer should be n is greater than or equal to 1/4. And fractions in this case, guys, don't be scared of these. These are actually the same way as if I were to graph them. So let's say if I were to graph these here, right, I have 1/4. 1/4 here. And this is obviously going to be a closed circle because of the inequality. And it says n in this case, guys, is representing the bigger numbers. And the numbers that are bigger than 1/4 are always to the right of it. Okay.